Music Matters. Marianne Ross.
Hello.
How we doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Hell yeah, I'm doing good. Thank you for doing this.
Yeah, dude, I'm so excited.
Yeah, hell
Thank
yeah.
you for having me.
Of course. It was very exciting. I remember when we first met through Wes at his interview. It was cool that you immediately were like, oh, I'd love to come on. That was sick.
Yeah. Was that the first time that we met? I feel like...
No, we met at DeMont's thing.
Yeah, but that was like, I guess, the first proper time meeting. And like, it was cool sitting in on here and you have good conversations.
Thank you,
like,
yeah.
This would be cool.
Got the DeMont shirt on today. I got that this day, yeah.
We love the community, man.
I was thinking about it, like... I realized I think I've worn this shirt in like 5 or 6 interviews since he gave it to me, and I was like, all somebody's got to do to like get hella free ad placements on Above the Bridge stuff is just like give me a shirt and I'll wear it like every day.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I feel like I do the same thing because he just makes cool merch. So
yeah, that's how I feel. Like it's not like it doesn't feel like merch. You know?
Yeah, exactly. It's just
that's
cool
like
shirt.
that's always my favorite merch. Is merch that doesn't feel like merch. I think there's like a there's like this
a specific niche.
Yeah, well, you know what I mean. Like I think because I don't know, like. I don't know if I'm super inclined to like wear a shirt with someone's like name on it in like sequence letters or something like really big and like shouty like that. Whereas like I feel like if you just make something really dope that happens to also be your merch, that I think I'm more inclined to get. You know,
I feel like my boyfriend right here Wes Patrick. He's really good at doing that same thing. Like
what was the West merch?
It was like
that's your merch. That's crazy.
Look at his
I didn't even know.
hat.
Yeah, I didn't even know.
It just looks like cool. It's just like a camo hat with like a bull on it and like the project name.
Have you done the merch thing yet?
I have. I have one
sick.
piece of merch and it's like a baseball tee with just like nods to like the lyrics.
Oh, hell
and,
yeah.
A little violet flower.
Yeah.
It was a bitch to make though because I wanted to get like a purple like sleeve, but there was like literally nowhere available, so I just ended up getting pink, but it's still cute as fuck. And it doesn't look like merch, it just looks like a cute little baseball tee with like some writing on it, which is like the same thing I was going for because I don't like merch that looks like merch. Like where it's just like I don't want my face on a piece of merchandise. Like no,
it's just like a lot.
That feels weird.
Yeah, I wonder why purple was hard to get.
I don't know, dude. It was fucking hard as hell. Like, it was really annoying.
The merch game was something I don't think I was entirely aware of until I started becoming friends with a bunch of artists that were going on tour, and just realizing how many like middle class musicians like make a living off of like selling merch. Literally. Like just selling merch and like opening for big acts on tour and stuff.
Yes, yeah, like that's where like the big money comes in. Like streaming is always going to be like kind of consistent, but like it stays consistent, whereas like if you like sell your merch, like it's depending on how much you price it, like you can make a pretty big benefit off of it. And then same thing with shows, like that's where like you get, or like the musicians get like a lot of their money from, a lot of their income, but it's super important. Like if you're not doing the merch game, like you might be lacking. I mean, it might not be your thing, which is so fine, but also fashion is cool, so like do it. Like, it's like another outlet to be artistic, so that's also kind of like the fun part about making merch. Yeah,
that's a super cool way to look at it. I saw that you were we were talking about this before, but I saw that you were opening for my friend Have on Monday, right?
Yeah, literally in like 2 days.
How many shows? Because we'll get into this. I want to talk about it later. But I know your artist project, like this artist project, is like relatively new still. How many shows like have you played? Because did you kind of just start immediately playing? Was there a buffer period after you started? And how have you kind of started to build out your live set? Is it like a band thing or?
I was like honestly always doing shows. Like even if it was like a backyard like little thing, like with just like small bands. Like I was involved in like I just wanted to be around like musicians and like the community of like people who were in art. Yeah. And I was kind of like there wasn't really a buffer period. I was just kind of like in it, like all the way in. Like I just wanted to be like out like to play my music, but like I didn't have a lot of music to play, so I did have to do like a lot of covers. Like I'd be like, hi, I'm Marianne Ross, here's a Beeba Doobie song, and then
or like here's an original, here's this cover.
So it was kind of like a slow build, I guess, for there. Like this next show I have way more music out, so I'm going to be playing a lot more of my own music, plus I have like a project that's like pretty much done, so like I'm getting ready to roll that out and everything, but so there's a lot more that I'm going to be playing that's like by me and not by like artists that are just like covers. It's
always so interesting how artists like choose to kind of navigate like the live versus studio aspect of what they're doing, because I feel like there's so many musicians who like their whole thing is live, like that it's like a live thing, right? But then there's so many musicians, especially now, I think that like that might not even be that much of a it might be more of like a passing thought when they're recording, you know? Like do you actively ever consider like the live I guess presence of something you're making while you're making it?
Like honestly Not really, but I do like appreciate when other artists do. Like I know Chapel Roan, she's like one of my favorite artists right now. She does that like when she's writing, and I feel like that's really smart and like something I want to learn to like incorporate in my music, like something that will be like fun and inclusive to perform live. But like pop, like that pop stuff is like not necessarily my realm, so I'd have to like figure out like some niche in between that. But as of right now, no, I don't do a lot of thinking of like how it will be in the live setting. When I have a show coming up, I do, and then I'm like, maybe we can, you know, play around with arrangements, different instruments we can bring in, which I usually do when I have a live band, which I'm not going to this show sadly. But
do you usually?
I have a couple of times, and it's really fun when I do because it's live music, and like, we get to. It just feels more full when we're playing it, and like every inch of like the song is like there, and like the track is there too, but it's just like it's not as full. Like I don't know how to explain it. I feel like it's like the drums also. Like having a drummer present is like so cool to have, because then it just like brings the song to life like there. But yeah, no, I kind of want to do more thinking of like how it will be in like the live setting, because that's definitely a smart thing to do for artists, I would say. Like whoever's doing that, like you're doing good. You're ahead of the game.
It is interesting though, because I wonder like I always think about like if I did what I'm doing right now like in like the 90s and talked to like a bunch of musicians then, like what that experience would be like and how different it would be now, because so much of what I feel like
changed like the music industry is like forever evolving, and like I feel like with the trajectory that like independent artists are going on, like music labels, like the majors at least, like I feel like in 10 years we'll be like dinosaurs or something.
I totally agree.
Like I'm like, we don't really need them. We're kind of figuring that out.
It's interesting. I always think of it like college, right? And not to like shit on college, I feel like everybody, like I feel like I always end up going on like anti-college rants. That's not what I mean. I see
where you're going with this.
I'm not anti-college, but it's like when you're in high school and middle school, college is looked at and described as a one-size-fits-all solution to like the third stage of your life, which simply isn't true. Like for a lot of people, it's not the right thing to do, which is very similar in my opinion to like how majors were described for a long time.
That is a very like, you know, candid comparison.
We're like majors make sense for like a very small subsection of people, I think, where like you get to a level where you need that high caliber of a team, and you need that big of a team. You like physically cannot manage with like an independently built boutique label team. Like it's not gonna work if you're Drake. But once you get to that point,
but you definitely don't need it as like a starting point at all. And you can like experience growth and like success and like accomplish your goals like just as an independent artist. And there's so many independent artists that are like proving that. Like Tommy Richmond, who just went #1 in the world. He signed to an independent label. And he's the only artist signed to that label.
That Tommy shit right now is getting me so angry, seeing people who are like, oh, like industry plant, or like, oh, like Tommy like came out, like it's like that guy has been like,
it's so funny.
It's been years,
like, you're just a
bro.
Hater. You're just a hater.
That's a good example though. I think another one I always point to is like it's a very different way than someone like Tommy did it, but like Brockhampton, not independent by any stretch of the imagination. Like they were on RCA, but
Brockhampton. I didn't know they were on RCA.
Yeah, but what did you say?
I didn't know they were on RCA.
Yeah, but like I think for the Saturation trilogy, I want to say that was independent. And they kind of recreated like the label in the aggregate in a weird way. Like they kind of like took all of the things that a label could provide you at least 10 years ago, right? And they just recreated them and did all of it in-house. And I think that's an example of, that's like a route that I think a lot of bands and artists and even just like collectives are taking now. I think like a lot of times the modern like collective can replace everything that a label can provide for you except for probably the money. Which is probably the only thing that makes sense to sign for anymore, you know, right?
If you need money and you need to like pay out studio musicians or like have these big concepts like brought to life, like you're gonna need like some big money to do that, and if you don't already have that leverage, then like labels are there to provide that for you. But still doesn't mean you need it absolutely necessarily, like or like it's absolutely necessary. Like you can make it work if you're doing what you can. Like especially on social media, like social media is so big now. If you're doing your part there, like I feel like you're guaranteed like at least some success.
I think what you were saying about like labels being obsolete in like 10 years is super true. And I think like the main reason I think that though, and I totally agree with you, but I think the main reason I do is because they're just like losing their ability to gatekeep things.
You think?
Like I think so. Like I think like all they can really gatekeep at this point is money, because like at least on like at least on the creative side, like they suck. Like on the creative side, the majors are bad. Like they don't know
do.
what they're doing. And even on the marketing side, you can make that argument. And there are a lot of more creative, like either media companies or, you know, production companies or like independent people or like just individuals who understand social media really well or management teams, people like that. I would argue that there's more value to be got from partnering with somebody like that than there is with the vast majority of label situations, you know?
Yeah. I feel like one of the big things is like they lack authenticity or something.
That too, yeah.
Like they just like are so focused on the numbers that like they don't even think of like the creative aspect of it anymore. And like that also rubs off, I feel like, on the artists.
Yeah.
Because like when artists go big, like they don't seem happy anymore. It seems like they're selling out their own authenticity for just like pop hits. Which is fine, whatever, but I'm not going to listen to your music because it's not authentic anymore.
Yeah.
Like that kind of thing. Where like independent artists are like so focused and like so honed in on like being, I don't know, like I feel like when you're starting out, like you have this element where you're like, I want to prove myself, like I want to do like the best that I can right now. And like our goal is to eventually like always have that in us so that we can like keep creating music, but like I feel like especially in the beginning, like that like burst of creation is like I'm gonna do something to like put myself on the map. And like that element, like I feel like kind of goes away when you're so big, maybe. I don't know, this is honestly just a theory.
No, I totally
like,
agree with you though,
just based off of like artists who have like started out and like what they're doing now, like now that the success has like grown into what it is, which is like huge.
I think another aspect of it too, with that authenticity part of it, is the fact that like that used to be so easy to hide when like posting your face every single like 7 hours wasn't like a required aspect of the music industry. Like you could kind of hide the lack of authenticity, you know.
That's very true.
But like now it's literally like there is no way to hide that.
That's what I'm saying with like the evolution of like everything, like with like culture and society and just like media in general. Like it's such a thing that's in the forefront of music and just like the industry as a whole. Like it's literally what is carrying the music industry right now. I feel like social media sounds, like real sounds, like Billie Eilish's like album is like on every TikTok I see. Like that's what's like pushing like the momentum, I feel like. Maybe like part of it, but
it's interesting. I tend to agree with you, but I also think that there is this strange like subsection of the music industry that I think has like kind of almost like consciously like went away from that, like kind of like devoided that on purpose. And I think that is like there's part of that is really attractive to people, I think, because I think like it's almost like when something becomes so normalized and so popular, like it no longer becomes cool. And I think like some of the social media stuff has gotten to the point now where it's like I do see like a swing, kind of like I think there is a bit of like a pendulum swing kind of happening where like the live side of things is like coming back. I feel like it
just depends on what artist you are, though.
Totally.
Like I feel like there's no like right way to do it. Like it's just like if you're making this type of music, this might be what works well for you. And then also if you're just this type of person, this might work well for you. So like no artist is really the same. And like I think also what's been proven lately is like there is no like right way to 100%, do this. Like 100%. You can do this whatever way you want to. And if it feels like it's resonating with you and it's resonating with other people, then you're doing something right. That's literally all it is.
100%. I said this in an interview a couple days ago, but I was saying like I bet if you took the 500 most popular artists stream wise right now and then analyzed each of their rises to success, like
it would all be
250 different. Of them would be different. It would all be so different.
It's not going to be the same. So it's like there's not really like a right way to do it. It's just kind of like these things do work for other people, and like if it resonates with you, then you should try and do it. And then like just it's honestly just trial and error, especially as an independent artist.
I really see your point with like what you just said really resonated with me when you said like it's not about what's right, it's about what's right for you. Because I think that is so key, dude. Because the thing is like if you're like an independent like folk artist, right? What works for you is just not going to be the same as like what works for like a band, you know, or like a punk band. If you're a punk band, like maybe what works for like a hardcore band isn't going to be the same for you. Or if you're making pop music, that's going to be different. You know, there's like, I think a big part of it too is like finding out who you're talking to, like, which is a really, really hard thing to do. But I feel like your music's done that pretty well.
Thanks. Yeah. I don't really I mean, and I guess in my last song I was thinking about it, but when I was writing like Violet, like I was just thinking of like me, like, and then putting out that in hopes that like people would resonate with it. And then like I feel like after I saw how people resonated with Violet, then I made like more songs according to like the vibe that I was getting like online. from like just people who were like into the song, and then I wrote like more sapphic music, and then like kind of like speaking to that audience now. But I kind of go, I don't like only writing for other people. Like I need to be writing for me. You know? Like it needs to like, I don't want to write like with the intention of like selling 1 million records, or like like I just want to write music that like feels good, and like that I feel like people will just like, and like whatever crowd that resonates with, like however big it is, like I feel like this is cool, and whoever thinks this is cool, you're cool, and I want to hang out with you, or like, you know what I mean? It doesn't really like, I don't know, I try not to overthink it so much, because I feel like that also like gets me away from like finishing music. Like if I overthink a song too much, I'm like, oh, this is so bad, like I'm just gonna start all over again. You know,
it's a really, really easy thing to do, I think.
Yes,
when
it is.
Violet was the second song you put out, right? When that happened, like when it kind of like you had that moment and Violet kind of like did as well as it did, was that like really overwhelming being it? So it was like the second song you ever put out. Like, were you ready for it? Were you expecting it?
No, like not at all. I was like, what the hell? It's been 2 days and it's like over like a couple thousand. Like that's so crazy, because my last song like didn't do that well at all. Like it had like, it took months to even get to like 1,000, and then like in like the first couple of days it was like over that, and it just recently, like the other day, hit 2 million.
Congrats.
I'm like, oh, thank you. On all streaming. So like it's still hard to process, I think, for me, but like I was definitely not expecting that. I was like, I think this is a really good song and I'm going to promote it, but like I didn't expect that turnout, and I'm really grateful for it, like nonetheless. But no, I was not expecting that.
Do you know where it came from? Like what was the moment that kind of sent it over?
It was like the reels that I was making. Like it was like the
on Instagram?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it was, well, and on TikTok, but like Instagram was where like the most like engagement was. But it was literally just like the same thing over and over and over again, and like I don't know, I just saw it worked, and then I just kept doing it. And then it kept working. And I still do it. And like, because it works. And I don't really know what else to do.
Why not?
So unless I have a new idea. I mean, no, I have had other ideas and everything, but they just like, I don't know, they don't seem like they resonate as well with like my audience. So I think like the authenticity part is like really big, because whenever it's like on a really nice camera, like, or like it's filmed really well, like they don't do well. And then if it's like on a shitty iPhone camera with like pixelated quality, it does so well. I'm like, okay, this is what works, I guess.
That's so interesting. I really wonder, like I wish I could figure out why that is. Like I wonder why.
I don't know, but it's kind of frustrating, because like I want to make like high quality shit and like I don't know, like make more cinematic stuff, but like it doesn't ever seem to like resonate well. So I don't know, maybe it's not my thing right now. And I kind of need, but that's kind of the same thing where I was saying like it's trial and error, like whatever people resonate with, like, and that I also resonate with, because like honestly the iPhone shit is so easy. Like, it's really fun to do for me, so I don't care. But like, yeah, I don't know, something about that concept of just me like being like this and then like losing my shit is like fun for people, I think. I don't know, it worked.
Is it ever like a scary idea, like maybe that, like, is it just scary that like that's what's worked and you went outside of there and it hasn't been?
It is a little bit worrisome, because I'm like, do I have to keep doing this forever in order to make like my music like known to the world? So yeah, in that way it's kind of like, what am I doing? Like, let's do something new, which like I've thought about, but like I don't know, I honestly like, it's kind of hard to come up with like marketing strategies.
Of course.
But I'm always like looking on like other artists like for inspiration and stuff, and like I don't really like biting from other people, so I just keep doing what I'm doing.
It's so interesting, because like that used to be such a thing where it's like, how would I say this? It's kind of like now, like the attention that you're looking for your music on like a social media app is so, at the end of the day, fickle and like so like out of reach and out of control. Whereas like I don't want to say like I don't want to like say like the music industry used to be fair, because it's never been fair, but it's just like there was a time, I feel like, where like you were a bit more in control, and I think there are still ways in the music in which you can be controlled, like things on the live side or other things. But
definitely,
I think like the social media shit, it's so hard because like
it's like the algorithm. It's whatever the algorithm pumps.
It has it really, at the end of the day, like I think you make better shit, it will do well 100%. But it's just like you can make amazing shit for so long, and it can like never do good. And then maybe you're just maybe like what you're supposed to be doing isn't that. Maybe it's something else. It's such a hard thing to be an artist. It's like
it's really hard.
It's like so out of your control. Like you just can't change it.
All you can do to find out too is just to like put yourself out there and keep trying. And that can be like really frustrating when you're like not getting any results, which I have firsthand struggled with. Like when I was first promoting my music, like it was so hard. Like I was only getting like just like nothing. Like I mean a couple hundred people were like into what I was putting out, but like not at all what I have now. And it was like very, very frustrating. And there were so many times where like my boyfriend Chris, his real name Wes Patrick, his real name is Chris. I'm just gonna be calling him that. But Chris,
do you call him Wes or Chris?
I call him Chris.
You guys are like home chilling?
I call him Babe. Like I call him Babe, but I don't call him Wes because that just feels weird. I'm like, your name isn't Wes. But there have been so many times where he's had to like talk me off the ledge when I'm like, I don't want to do this anymore. Like I don't want to promote my stuff. It's not working. And then like he'd be like, it just takes like one video. Like you just have to keep going like one more day, and like I promise like as long as you keep trying, like something will happen eventually. Like you just can't give up. And I was like, okay, fine. But like there were so many times where I was like, I don't want to do this shit anymore. Like it's like unfulfilling, and like it's like kind of like a downer when I go to see like how many views I have. Like it's super disappointing. But then like I kind of had to pull myself out of that and just be like, whatever I have, like I am accepting of it, and like I am like welcoming in whatever experience that this is, and like this is something that I need to go through and like just like kind of stick out. And there's like it's really hard for me to do that. I have to be like very aware of like the situation and like just the present reality and everything. And then eventually just like things started to pick up because thank God I never gave up. But yeah, it takes a long time. It takes a lot of like trial and error and like figuring out what is like working on social media right now. Like what
it's also just not what you sign up for.
No, not at all. Like I signed up to make music, and I'm making like reels every single day. So yeah, it's a bit more than I bargained for, but I guess it's a small sacrifice to play. It's like literally a minute of my day. So it's like not a huge sacrifice that I have to make. It's just kind of like something I have to do.
There's like no way around it.
But I don't like spending, like there were times where like I would spend so much time on social media after posting, and then I had to like set a timer or like a time limit.
Smart. Be
like, I don't need to spend any more than like an hour on my social media today. Like, so I've been doing that lately, and I want to keep doing that because like it's just toxic to spend so much time on there. Like I go on there and I'm like, fuck, everyone is living my dream. And then I get like so entranced and like just like wanting what I don't have, which is super bad. And you talked about this with him in your interview. It was like the then I'll be happy syndrome.
It's the worst. It's the worst thing ever.
Literally that. So it's just like I love what I have now, and then whatever comes, like I will love just as much as well, and like kind of just like that. It's it's like a mental practice.
It's very much like the human condition. Like I feel like there's no way to like sit there every single day and just be accepting of every single thing that you have, right? Because it's so hard, dude.
There is a way, but it's
so
super hard. You have to be like aware every second of the day. And, like, and then especially with just like how much we consume, like everything that's like in our faces all the time, like our phones or like TVs or just like everything. It's kind of hard to stay present in the moment. But I think just like when you try to detach yourself from those things and like do things that are like not online or just like on a screen, basically, like it gets a little bit easier. Because you're not like so like, I don't know, it just gets foggy. Like everything, I don't know. Does that make sense?
I know exactly what you mean. The like, foggy feeling is so like that's actually a really good way to put it. I think. Because it's like it's so true, dude. Like the more time you spend like behind a screen, I feel like I wouldn't say behind a screen. I think specifically on your phone.
Yes.
I think specifically on your phone.
It's an addiction.
Yeah.
Like, it's a really bad addiction.
It makes the rest of the world have like the way I always describe it, it's like the rest of the world has like opacity fade on it. You know what I mean?
Wait, what is opacity fade?
So like opacity is like if you're looking at like a screen and you lower the opacity.
Yes. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of just like a fog.
Yeah, and
you
like
know?
it's like how your brain gets. Like it's like I don't really, and it's freakishly addicting. Like once you get on your phone, like how like it's so hard to get off of it. Or like I guess the more you practice it, the easier it gets. But like at first, it's like fuck. It's been 5 minutes. I'm bored again. I want my phone.
It's like built for that almost.
Yeah, so
which is scary.
It's super scary.
You know what? I had this thought recently actually, because the other day when I always mess with Mario because he has a Google Calendar, and but the other day, I remember we were going to, I don't know, we were driving somewhere, and I said it, and he was like, I just don't want to have another thing on my phone. And I was thinking about that when you said it, Mario, and I was like, damn, like it's kind of scary to think about like how your phone can become like every single utility in your house, or your phone can become like everything you need in your pocket.
No, literally.
You know, like your phone is your calculator, it's your calendar,
think about
it's
this
everything.
all of the time. Like whenever I forget my phone, I'm like, my life is like basically on pause right now.
Yeah.
Like literally on pause.
Yeah.
Because like my calendar is on there, my contacts are on there, my GPS is on there, my like literally everything is on there.
Yeah.
Which was smart for the capitalistic guys who profit off of it.
Yeah.
Because now we literally rely on them. But yeah, it is terrifying because it's like, I can't just like rely on myself.
Yeah.
Like it's weird. But yeah, I definitely do like get freaked out at that thought too.
It like started as like a, like not like a leisurely thing, but it started as like something that you would use kind of as like a, like it was like extra. And it's no longer extra.
No,
now
it's like
necessity. It's like everything.
Absolutely essential to have a phone.
Yeah.
Like if you don't have a phone, like what are you doing?
Yeah, especially as a musician. Like you just can't.
Which is crazy. Like and that's like also like going back to what we were saying, like times have changed so much.
Mm-hmm.
Like phones were not like a thing back like in the beginning of the music industry. Like and now like it's just like everything we consume. So it's like why it's like a huge pivotal factor in like just artists in general, like even like actors and filmmakers and just whoever is making art, like you're on social media, and like you're showing off your art on social media, and it's like crazy. It does really suck. And from the capitalistic perspective, I guess that's like all they were trying to do, really. You know? Yeah. Have you seen this is just making me think of
that one documentary?
No, I'm oh wait, it's kind of a documentary.
There's like a documentary about the phone stuff that's been brought up in the podcast before, but I've been meaning to watch it.
No, I didn't. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking actually about Bo Burnham.
Oh, Inside.
Yes.
Yeah, I actually just rewatched it like 2 weeks ago.
So good, but it's making me think of the song "Welcome to the Internet."
Is that the one where it's like latte, or they're talking about like all like the?
He's like talking about like the internet, just like he's like, "Welcome to the internet."
Oh yeah.
Look around.
Yeah.
And then it's like. It's really beautiful, but it's kind of in the perspective of like the people who made the internet or just like media in general, and then like it's cool. It just made me think of that.
I wonder if the pandemic like kind of like accelerated that thing that would have already happened, like it just like times 10 speed. Like I wonder if like the addiction and like the fogginess and like that like attachment to our phones that we feel right now.
Yeah.
I wonder if it wasn't for the pandemic, if we would have felt that in like 10 years, but not now. Like I wonder if the whole trend like fast forwarded because of the pandemic.
You have a really solid point there, because
Didn't
like
you think?
It definitely like sped up the trajectory of like how many people were on their phones because we didn't have shit to do.
Yeah.
And then that lasted so long, so then we become like pretty much, I mean like it becomes a routine.
Yeah.
Like it's just like part of the routine now.
Yeah.
And like nobody wants to change that routine because you get to shut off your brain.
Yeah, exactly.
It's really easy.
The cameras already did.
Oh, they did?
Oh, wait, it's bad. No, it's not.
Do you want to pause and open the garage?
Let's take
a 10-minute heat break.
Okay.
All right, we're back. Heat break. This is by far the hottest it's ever been in here.
It's like 100 degrees today.
Yeah.
Like over 100 degrees today.
Yeah, it's tough. It's like today, like it feels like summer. Like I don't know if it's felt like summer yet.
It's a nice beach day.
How
we should be at the beach right now.
When you in the OC, like what's the difference? Like is it like significantly cooler? Is it
like 10 degrees cooler, but it's
that's
pretty
low key.
hot.
That's low key a game changer though.
But it has like a nice breeze too because we're by the water.
Yeah.
So yeah, I like it down there, and it's less cluttered too. Like I feel like LA is so cluttered, but that's apart from the weather. That's just like ecosystem wise.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's Much more like it's nice.
I also feel like 10 degrees means something different depending on where you are. Like 60 to 70, low key the same, but like 90 to 100 or 80 to 90, significantly different.
Yeah, that's actually fact.
You know,
I don't know why it just like exponentially grows.
I don't know.
And I don't think we're made for heat because we're already like really warm on the inside.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Maybe there is like boiling points.
Yeah. We have our boiling points.
Yeah. Sometimes I think about how scary it is that we'll probably, if we live like as long as we should, we most likely will like experience like a significant change in the climate like during our lifetime.
That's really scary.
Isn't that like a scary thought?
No, that's super terrifying.
Yeah.
To think about, especially with like how little the government cares with like, global warming and everything, like how easily they write it off as like a thing.
Yeah.
Like they're like, oh, they're conspiracy theorists. I mean, I think now they're definitely more open to it, but like they haven't really been, you know?
That one's
and,
insane
like,
to me.
As far as like action that's taken, like there's minimal, like little to none.
That one's insane to me because I think at least with some of the conspiracy theories you can point out like a place where those people were wronged or like, I don't want to say like miseducated, but like there was like an experience that led to their wrong way of thinking, right?
It was just like the logic was off.
Yeah,
like it was like what do you mean it's fine right now? Like,
yeah,
but look at the science though.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's what matters.
Yeah, exactly. That's what's so weird about that one though, because it's like in other ones there's ones where you'd be like, oh, this person wronged me, so I feel this way, right? Mm-hmm. Like who wronged you? Like the Earth? Like Mother Nature? Like who are you mad at?
I feel like they just want their money.
Yeah.
Like they're not trying to spend it on things that don't make them money.
Yeah.
And like I don't know. Like, but you would think that a healthy planet would make them money.
This is so beautiful.
Fuck yeah!
Let's fucking go. Thank you so much.
Delivery service.
Shout out to Dreamhead Music.
Thank you so much.
Bro, thank you so much.
Amazing.
I feel like an intern.
This is my intern, Andrew.
Yeah, no, not my first time.
Thank you, Andrew.
I would I'm not gonna make that joke on this.
This is amazing.
Thank you so much, bro. Wow.
It's a true summer day now.
Big shout out to Dreamhead Music, man. Yeah, it's a summer day. We got the Slurpees. It's bumping. This is awesome. I never know which side of the Slurpee straw to use.
What do you mean?
It's not the spoon one, right?
Shut up!
Well,
you don't do that.
Well, I know that, but I just always mess it up. It makes sense. Well, I also don't like the spoon. Like
the spoon, yeah, no, it's so you can pick up the.
Yeah, but it's so small. It's
like
very
this.
impractical. It's like super impractical.
What do you mean? It makes sense. It's mainly for kids, I feel like, too.
Yeah.
So it's like it fits their little mouths.
I'm against them pandering Slurpees to kids. Give me adult Slurpees.
I can't believe you did that. That was like a crime.
Okay.
You put the straw in the other way.
Forsaken. Okay, pivoting back to music. Okay, so you haven't been putting out music very long. Like you're in its entirety, like the Marianne Ross artist project has only existed for like less than a year, right?
Yes. No. Yeah. I like did that intentionally because I had music out when I was in high school, and I did like an EP, but it's horrible, and I hate it, and I deleted it off of everything. So I just like intentionally wanted to start over with like new things. I was always like into music, but like it took me a while to grow into like I don't know, and I think I'm always changing also too. So like the old stuff just like didn't resonate. It was like very like R&B pop.
Interesting. Okay.
Which is like very different from what I do now. Like alternative indie folkish.
Yeah.
You know? So it was like a long time like figuring out like what kind of music that I feel like I resonate with and like I see myself making or like, you know?
Interesting.
And then I just kind of like outgrew that and then just started all over and then like also met new people and like started working with like different people and everything. I also met Chris and then he like introduced me to his whole community, which was like amazing because like they're my community, so like it was kind of just like a organic growth, I feel like. And then I just kind of like scrapped where I started because I really did not like it anymore.
Let me ask you this. I know a lot of people who like are in similar boats who have done that, right? They had like a past artist project, they grew out of it, didn't feel like it represented them anymore, they fully changed. Why? Well, I guess not why, but when you were doing that, making that decision, were you debating whether or not you want to do it under a new artist name or just kind of like go from a clean slate?
No,
why'd you do that instead of just like kind of add on to the stuff that, you know, was on your previous?
I just like did not want that to like kind of what you said, like I didn't want it to represent me.
Yeah.
Like I did not want that to represent me as an artist, and like I felt like it was just like my little kid self like experimenting with stuff, and like I liked that I had the availability to put it out and everything. And at the moment it was really fun, but just like as I got older, like it like resonated less and less and less with me.
Yeah.
So I didn't want that like representing my name, but I never had an interest in like changing my name. Like I always wanted like my name to be my artist name.
Yeah.
There were people who like told me I needed to change it, and I was like, I don't want to.
Yeah.
Like I just want it. There are artists who like are super successful and like use their real name.
Yeah.
So I feel like my name is fine. So yeah.
Eli talks about that all the time. How like, cause he does like jazz stuff, but he's also like a rapper, and how like a lot of rappers just like, you know, they won't go by their normal name. But it is interesting because I feel like when you're doing that, you can use it like play a character to a certain extent, but I also think you can do the opposite if you just go by your regular name. Like you're almost like the truest representation of what you are. Like it's yourself, you know, no barriers, no plastic walls, nothing.
And I think that just like depends on the artist, like what they're going for, like what type of image they're trying to portray like within their art. And like for me it's just like whatever is the most authentic, I feel like, and like I'm not really trying to like, I don't know. I feel like a good example is like literally Chapel Brown. Like she's like a whole concept, like as a person, like her styling, her makeup, her like music, her crowd like engagement and everything. Like that is like a I think it would be safe to say like it's like a persona. Yeah. And I feel like my persona is just me. I don't know. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but like
no, I feel that.
I feel like there are like certain like elements that like contribute to like having like like a persona or like alter ego maybe or something like that. And like I don't really have an alter ego. Like I just am who I am.
I think that's
like, not like a diss to Chapel Roan, because I fucking love Chapel Roan.
Yeah, she's awesome.
Like not dissing her at all.
I think that level of like, I don't even know if I want to call it world building, because I don't know if that's what world building is, but maybe it's just like making yourself into a character. My favorite example of this.
Yeah, like a character.
Yeah. And my favorite example of this, and I was looking at your water bottle, I feel like you probably feel the same way, is like the eras of Tyler. Like Tyler is a different character, a different portrayal, different color palette, a different everything with every new album, you know? Like Call Me If You Get Lost was like that baby blue suit, like Igor was the pink, Flower Boy was the orange. Like he is such like a visual artist first, and it's so interesting because he's been doing that for years, and I think he was so ahead of its time, ahead of his time, because so many people are doing that now to the point where it's almost like the norm. Like you almost have to do that.
But he was like, he was way ahead of his time because no one else was really doing that. And I honestly wasn't really that big into Tyler until like Flower Boy, but like I like vaguely dove into like his older stuff, and he always had like it's kind of like also like Kanye, where they have like a like literally a world that they're creating, which I feel like every artist goes for, but like they're so good at like honing in on like an entire universe with like visuals, and like the production is like always insane, and like lyrics and whatever, but like everything together is just like, and even like the shows, like the shows that they put together are like on theme, and like obviously his fashion like outlet, where like with golf, like it's just all like a world, like it's its own little universe. I
had this thought recently when I was thinking about this. I almost feel like maybe that was easier for them, or they had more freedom to do so because they started at the very end. I think like the very, very end period of when releasing an album was the norm. Like when you didn't have to get this arbitrary number of like 75 or 100,000 monthly listeners or a certain amount of followers or whatever to get to the place where releasing an album is worth it. It's so strange because I feel like
that's actually a good point.
You know, because it's way harder to do that with singles, don't you think?
Yeah, I feel like especially with people's attention spans now. Like I think we were just talking about it like earlier, like how like it's the younger generations like have like the shortest attention spans just because of like what we consume and everything. So like albums, like you're lucky if people want to listen to one song, let alone like 7 or 13. It's like it's a lot less realistic to come out with just like right off the bat an album, where like a lot of people were doing that in the past. But that's just like another thing, like music is evolving, bro. Like it's never going to be the same again, which is really fun and exciting to be like in the midst of. Like in like it's like a new generation that's being born in like this whole world.
I think that mindset is the only one that you can like adopt if you want to survive. Like I think like
you have to adapt.
I know a lot of musicians that are so stuck in this like things were better 25 years ago, and like it used to be like this, used to be like that, and like that's fine, you can believe that, but it's like you simply have no chance of like figuring this thing out if you were just not considering like
Yeah.
what is the reality right now.
It just matters on your perspective, like how you look at it, like, and it's better just to have like a glass half full.
Yeah.
Like the saying, like perspective on it.
100%.
If you want to be happy.
Yeah, just do it.
I
Yeah.
would recommend that.
So you said you're making music in high school. When you were kind of growing up, when did you first fall into the place where you found interest in music? Were your parents into it? Was there like a friend or something? How'd you get into it?
Yeah, my mom, she was the singer.
Gotcha.
And she was in a band, and then like I was basically always around it when I was a kid.
Cool.
So I like grew up loving it.
Uh-huh.
And yeah, I just like my earliest memories are just like me singing. And like I did a talent show when I was like 4. Like I was like always trying to be like a singer. And like ever since like I was like little, like I would like make every wish like at 11:11, like I want to be a singer when I grow up. Like
Throwing the Snapchat story 11:11.
No. Yeah, sometimes when I was younger. But no, I would always like make wishes and shit, like but like that's just what I wanted like forever. Like I never, like even throughout high school, obviously because I was making music, like I never let that dream die when I was like a kid.
That's really beautiful. I was talking about this the other day. It's so interesting. I think like if you never let that dream die, it is like a little part of you that just stays you forever. I think it's so important to like, if you figure out that is early, realize how lucky you truly are. Because like I think about that a lot. Like I'm so grateful like I found what I want to do at like a very young age.
The fact that I have a dream at all, like, or like a passion, like people don't have passions.
Yeah, exactly.
Some people like, you know, so it's like the fact alone that you have something that you're passionate about is like something to be grateful for.
Yeah, it's like squander that. It's like it's just, you gotta just go all the way in. So when did you so you realized you wanted to do it when you were in high school? Were you like actively trying to pursue it? Was it more of a hobby thing? When did you kind of make the jump from there to figuring out how to get to where you are now?
Yeah, no, I don't think I was taking it as seriously in high school because I didn't think it was, I genuinely didn't think it was like a possibility. Like I was just like, this is something that I love to do and I want to do it. And then I put it out because I like wanted to share it. But like I didn't have that like the whole, obviously like I dreamt about it, but I didn't think that it was actually tangible for me because I didn't have like the resources, and I was kind of like in like the mindset of like I need a label to do something where like I didn't know that there was like an independent scene going on. I kind of like had to like meet people to find out about that.
Gotcha.
And like in high school, like there's no music scene in like where I'm from.
Interesting.
Like the cool thing is to be in sports. So like there's like not a lot of people in music, so like there wasn't a big community. And it wasn't until I went to college where I was like, oh, like there's people who actually like making music and making art. And then I like kind of like started to like cultivate just more refined art, I think, because I had like people who resonated more with me. But yeah, it was very like slim pickings, like where I'm from. Like,
That's
not a lot of people are into music.
Where are you originally from?
Marietta.
Where's that?
Exactly. It's in California. It's it's towards San Diego.
Okay. In
the IE, Riverside County.
Oh, it's in IE. Oh, gotcha.
I feel like the bottom of the IE.
Gotcha. Okay, that's so interesting.
Do you know where Temecula is?
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
Some people know where Temecula is because it's like where people go to drink wine on vacation.
I know Lake Temecula. That's in like Berkeley.
Okay.
But
I don't know what that is.
Yeah, that's like in the Bay Area.
But yeah, no, that's where I'm from. Everybody there just like does sports.
Yeah, I totally feel you on like the having the people around you thing. It's so strange being isolated and having these thoughts and not understanding why nobody else feels the exact same way. Because
it's really lonely.
Yeah, it's very lonely. I felt the same way, I think, when I was first understanding what I wanted to do with this and first realizing what I wanted to grow. It's so strange. And like but I will say though, like the isolation that you feel is so much less than the eventual the eventual satisfaction you feel when you find the group of people that like truly understand it and like truly get it. And also I think for me it was a lot of finding people who challenged me in that sense. Like I think like
there was like nobody who challenged me where I was from.
Really?
Yeah, no,
because they just didn't care enough to, because they weren't into it, or
like me, I don't know, like I feel like there was just no drive, like I didn't find like the drive that I have in anybody else. Like one or two people, but like not as quite as strong as mine. But yeah, no, like having people who challenged me like leveled up my art and leveled up my songwriting, and like just being like, oh no, we can beat that, like we can do better than that. And I didn't have that before. I keep hitting this.
You're good.
But yeah, I didn't have that before, so it's like it's definitely like a nice tool to have.
Yeah.
Like somebody who challenges, like, yeah, just like what you're coming up with.
Yeah.
Or, like if it could be better.
It's so interesting because music is like, and just art in general, I guess, like I feel like I try to never think of it as a competition, but there always is a sense of like, I think regardless of whatever it is, be it sports, like music, whatever it is, you really need to have people around you that if they're not challenging you directly, they're presenting you ideas.
Yeah.
I think that's like super, super, super key, but I think that also only matters if you're open to considering those ideas.
Yeah, no, you have to be like very open-minded when like making art, especially with other people, because like it is very personal to you. So there's that element where like it's kind of like you do want to have like some of the final say, because like it is what is representing you as an artist, but like having like the open-mindedness to like be experimental or like try out new things, like I mean, like only good things can come of that, I feel like. Because then you're just expanding like your knowledge and like your expertise or whatever, and like it's a new experience. So like altogether it's just like beneficial, I feel like.
Being in a place like Temecula where there wasn't a lot of music at all, when did you kind of begin to like enter into like what you felt like was like the side of the music industry that you're on right now? Like how did you kind of like, what was your first experience like when you kind of launched this new artist project? And I suppose like what was like the tipping point?
Like when I was in high school?
No, when you launched like this new artist project.
Oh, wait, which one? Sorry.
Like just like the 4 singles you have now.
Oh, okay, yeah. Wait, sorry. Could you please repeat that question?
No, you're good. Yeah. I was saying like what was kind of the tipping point? Like when did you first start to get like industry attention and like kind of begin to get the ball rolling on the new thing?
Oh, like probably with Violet.
Gotcha.
Yeah, like once Violet blew up, I was like getting all the attention from like labels and like just different producers who were like, hey, you're really dope, like let's work together.
Yeah.
That song really put me on the map.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Where did the success on it come? Just from those reels you said?
I feel like also like I got Spotify playlisted like on like the Fresh Finds like indie folk playlist, and then this one called Juniper, which I think I'm still on. So that also brought in a lot of streams, which was like amazing because that was also really exciting for me because I was like, Spotify.
Yeah.
But yeah, also those I feel like, but that and like my marketing on social media. I also did like a music video. I don't know if like, but that was promoted by my social media. So like, yeah.
The playlist thing is so interesting. Like I feel like it's so easy to like write it off as like it's not doing much, but it's like I think it's really good.
No,
at,
it
like,
actually does a lot.
Yeah, I think it's really good at like taking like a moment that like wasn't there and then making it something. But like I think once it has like a cap a little bit, like it gets to a point where it's like it's not gonna like change a lot. I think, but it's like from like it's kind of like that metric, like from 0 to 50,000 is a lot different than like 50,000 to 100,000. You know?
I don't know. I don't like think about it like that, but maybe.
Yeah, it's super strange how things progress. Okay, so like when that happened, right after you dropped Violet, were there any like tangible changes like in your life right after? Like were you at that time actively pursuing music wholeheartedly, or like what did it kind of change at that point?
I think it's still changing, but like definitely at that point it started to progress, like the amount of sessions that I was in, and like the producers that were like talking to me, and just like other artists who were like, I don't know, like in like my circle, I guess, like people who like are also interested in my music and I'm interested in their music, but like I also forgot what the question was again.
No, you're good. No, I was just asking about like how everything changed. But I think the point on that community is really huge. I think I feel that as well a lot.
I think it's the most important thing to me. Because that's what keeps me going. Like if I'm just by myself, like I mean, I am inspired to do things, but like having people there and available to like help me with like parts of like the music that like I'm not like an expert at, because I'm good at like writing songs, but like I'm not good at like producing and like making a song like as full as it is. Like I work with my producer David, and he's like amazing. Like he's like a very big like reason why like I have like I feel like the success I have, because of how like well like I work with him, or how well he works with me like on the songs. Like I don't do it alone, like I do it with a community, and like that's what's really important to me. Because it's like solid ground, you know.
I interviewed a guy who runs I guess yesterday or 2 days ago, but he runs this like DIY venue called The Shed, and we were kind of talking about like just how he's built a team around him, and he said something that like really resonated with me, and he said like you just have to like let people find their genius and then just kind of trust them to do their genius.
Yes.
And I think that is really, really, really key. There's this book I love called Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, and they talk about this concept of the mastermind, a lot is what they call it. And it's essentially like that idea of like finding that conglomerate of like different people and putting in those puzzle pieces to where like your puzzle fits exactly right. And it's so interesting because like that's something that you can't ever really force. I think like the most important thing when you're doing that is losing the ego, like which is so hard.
Yeah, I feel like you talked about this with Chris.
We might have,
I don't know, but I don't know. But yes, that's very true. Like having like the ability to like let go of like every single ounce of control, and like that's what. But that also comes with just like what we were saying before about being open-minded to like what like new experiences can like bring and all of that. But I get that that's really hard. I luckily never struggled with that.
Really?
I was like very eager to find a community because I think it was just like the scarcity of it where I came from. It was like I'm like in a drought.
I do feel like there's a part of that is like selfish, egotistical man. Like I do think there's a part of that like it's mine, I don't want to let go of any of it, you know?
Yeah, I don't have any of that.
Yeah, it is really like, I think it comes with time too. And I think like for me anyway, I think I got to a point where it's like you try to like force like a square hole into or kind of like force like a square peg into a round hole for like years and years and years. Try to like make sure that you can do everything.
Yeah.
And then you realize like, oh, there's only 24 hours in the day and I'm only awake for 16 of them, and there's only one of me.
Yeah, and I think like ultimately like if you just get over yourself, like you're gonna find that like it's a lot easier. Like, if you just have 100%. People helping you.
Yeah,
like,
100%.
Get over yourself.
Have you found like any key collaborators that have really changed like the game for you creatively? Like any people that you really click with and have worked with really well? Yeah,
like David. Like I love working with David. Like everything he comes up with, he's just like a master instrumentalist. So like everything he plays is like, yes, that's amazing. And I also just love working with also Chris. Like he'll stick in and like help out with like production and like direction on like concepts and like of the song as a whole, and like give me advice on like my songwriting and everything, like, you know. But yeah, definitely those two.
How did you guys meet?
We worked together.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
I lived in so when I was going to college, I went to Cal State Fullerton, and I lived in like an apartment complex down the road. And I I just started working at the front office, and he had already worked there.
Oh, gotcha.
And then we became friends.
It worked out.
Yeah. Worked out really well.
Did you, when you kind of like began to bring these full fleshed out, or not full fleshed out, I guess, demos to producers, like, did it take you a long time to find like the style and like kind of the niche and the aesthetic of your music now? Were you playing around with a lot of different things?
Yes.
What was that process kind of like?
Oh my God, it was so chaotic.
Yeah.
And it was confusing as fuck because like I would make like, Chris knows, because like I would make like R&B songs and just like, or rock songs like punk or shoegaze, and it was just, or I'd make like folk, like cutesy indie pop songs, and it was just kind of like all over the place. And I had to I basically just like figured out I was like paying attention to like what I was writing the most, and I was writing a lot of like singer-songwriting things, and like on just like my acoustic guitar, and like with very minimal production, and like not a lot going on. So like I kind of had to like figure out that was my niche, and like that's what I feel most comfortable in. Yeah. But I do like, I love singing like R&B shit and like in the car, like, or like pop stuff. Like, I still love that. It's just like what I feel like represents, I don't know, my soul. Yeah.
It's so interesting. I Mario says this a lot, and I think it's really smart. He always says like genre is just like an aesthetic choice, which I think is
totally
really, really true. It's like,
it literally is an aesthetic choice.
Yeah. And I don't think you have to be tied down by like a certain genre if
it's kind of like limiting.
Yeah, as long as like the feeling amongst everything feels consistent. You know, right. I think that is the key. I think your music does that really well.
Thank you.
Because like a lot of the songs, like Violet and Forget Me Not, they feel very different in like a genre lens or whatever. But like the feeling feels pretty comparable in the sense that like, I don't know, your stuff feels very like dreamy to me. Like it's really drowned out in production.
Yeah, very much so. Like, and like the singer-songwriter aspect, like just like the like intricate like lyrics, I guess, and like the acoustic guitars, like just like consistent things that like keep everything kind of the same world. But I do want to like I don't like kind of what you're saying, like, or what I just said, I don't know, it's like limiting to like tie yourself down to one genre. So like eventually I want to like genre blend with like shit. And like I feel like so many artists are so good at doing that, like making a bunch of different songs that are like all different vibes but like fit in the same realm. And it's kind of hard for me to figure out, so like I eventually want to be able to get to that point where I can make a record and it's like a bunch of like different vibes but everything is like in the same feeling.
Yeah,
like kind of what you're saying.
That's a really, really good goal to shoot for.
Like so hard.
Yeah,
it takes a lot of trial and error and like
for sure.
a lot of work.
You also kind of have to be like a master, or like at least understand like different sounds, I think, to get to that point as well. Because it's like if you're trying to work in like multiple realms in that way but have them all feel similarly, you have to be on like certain ends of all of them.
Yeah, that's kind of why I'm also grateful for like the experimental phase that I was going through with like all of the different genres, because I was kind of like just picking and choosing like what I liked from each.
Yeah,
you know, like even just like down to the tone of my voice, like how I was singing it, like I kind of got to like meticulously like pick out like what elements I wanted to include in like the art that I was making. Yeah, so it was kind of like fun in that way. It wasn't like super stressful. It was more like an Alice in Wonderland type vibe.
I think that's so key. Eli, I feel like I just keep name dropping right now, but I'm like, Eli has a song, and it has this Wes Anderson quote in the beginning, where pretty much he's talking about like how finding yourself is essentially just like trial and error, finding different things that you think you are, finding the aspects of them that make sense, and then shedding everything that isn't. Wow. And every time you do it, you get closer to like the true form of what you are. He means it in like a personal sense, but I think the same thing is really true in music. I think like if you try maybe one direction or one genre or one sound or whatever, and you take the aspects of it you like, and then you kind of mix it with other things, and then you take those aspects from that and you mix it with other things. That's like the trial and error that comes like refining your sound, and I feel like it also goes with just like your journey, like as a human, like what you're going through. But like, oh my god, I keep forgetting, bro. Like I need to stop doing this. What was the last thing that you said? I said refining your sound, and I made this like refine.
God, I'm so sorry.
No, you're good.
I'm gonna stop smoking my weed. Give me a rundown. What was the last thing you just said? I said like
taking genres and then taking sounds and like finding the ways in which they make sense, and then kind of like shaving off the sides.
I had a thought. Sorry, I'm so sorry.
You're good to have.
But like it also like I feel like that never like you never really reach like a finish line. Like you're always like evolving, and like that's also like fun because it like I feel like a lot of people think there's gonna be like a finish line, like you like get to a point where like this is who I am, but then like I feel like once you're there, you're kind of like already moving on to like what else resonates with you, and like you're always like evolving as a person. So like in that being said, like your music also changes, or like artists, like when artists change as people, like their music also changes with them. You know what I mean? So that's also kind of like the beautiful thing about it, like figuring out who you are. Like it's just kind of like a never-ending journey, which can sound really scary, but
or exciting.
It's kind of fun.
That's a really cool way to look at it, I think.
Like you're always going to be a new person. Like who I was like last year is like not who I am this year. They're like just certain things that have like changed, and I'm like growing as a human, and like all of us are. That's
so true. I kind of always think of like,
I'm so happy I remember that.
No, that was great. I'm happy you did too. I always kind of think of like stagnation is sort of like the enemy of happiness. I think it's like really, really, really. I feel like
that's like perspective too, though.
For sure.
It's like if you think you're stagnant, like it's what story you're telling yourself. Like if you tell yourself you're stagnant, then you are in the perspective of somebody who is stagnant. But if you tell yourself like this is like a journey that I'm on, or whatever, like whatever else that isn't stagnant, like just a different word that isn't as like I don't know, like negative.
I feel that too. Sometimes I wonder if that's like the toxic grind set part of me that like feels that way.
I hate the toxic grind set. Like it's okay for us to just like sit in bed and watch TV. Like, I'm okay. And I have to like read books on that and be like they're right, and like highlight everything and be like have a point. Like I can just like rest and not feel guilty, because like there's so many times where I'm just like sitting in bed and I'm like I could be making music right now, but I'm not. And then I'll like kind of like I have to pull myself out of that train of thought, because then I get like really like I don't feel like working, and then I like make myself work, and it's just like that's not what I resonate with right now. Being present is hard though, so it takes a lot of awareness.
My girlfriend's really good about like calling me out about that, because I think I'm really bad about like
the grind.
Yeah.
Good for you that you have her.
What'd you say?
I said good for you that you have her.
Yeah, no, she's the best. But it's like, I think I've gotten better at it over the years, and I think a lot of it comes from security. I think a lot of it comes from fear. I think a lot of it comes from like, I don't know, like I think there are things that are bigger than me that play into it too. Like I think like capitalism is a big part of it, honestly. Like
no, like literally the entire culture is why. Like it's from the moment that we're born. I'm reading this book right now called Hello Higher Self, and it's like they're like learned hierarchical beliefs that like indoctrinate us to think that like we are always supposed to like we're not supposed to be fulfilled unless like we have like a family and money and a job and like all these things, and like until we have that we're not complete, but like we are complete like from the moment we're born, like we are enough, and like but the system doesn't want us to know that. They want us to like work for them and like think that we're not enough, and like we have to do all these things and buy all these things and accomplish all of these things to think that we are enough, but like we are already enough.
It's kind of
like the world doesn't want us to know that.
It's kind of like I just thought of this. It's kind of like the hamster ring on the hamster wheel.
Literally, we're literally hamsters on a wheel.
Yeah, like we're running towards nowhere. You know what I mean?
Get up. Like stop. You don't need to do all of that.
Yeah, it is so strange. Like I think it's really weird that like sometimes I question. I'm like, it wasn't for capitalism and if it wasn't for like corporations, would we as individuals want to move forward? I like at all, really? Like obviously we want to survive, but is even the concept of just like wanting to succeed in like this man-made civilization that like we've determined what is and is not success?
Maybe not. I just don't think it would be framed like that, because I think we naturally are just like creative beings. Yeah, like we're like we create things, so like I feel like that would just like, I don't know. I feel like that would be like inevitable, that we would just like end up like this would just already be what it is, but like there wouldn't be like money involved, and there wouldn't be like, I don't know, but it would obviously be a lot different. But I don't think like we would just like sit around and like sleep all day. Maybe some people, but like I think that like the creativity is like a spiritual thing, and if people are spiritual, I don't know.
And I also don't necessarily...
That's an interesting concept. That's a question.
And I also don't necessarily think that, like, that is even... Like, I think a level of... Like, it's all balance, right? Like, I think a level of stagnation is good. I think a level of, like, forward motion is good. But it's all about, like, having the ebbs and flows of it. And, like, more or less, I think the important thing is, like, being okay with either. Like, being okay with what's happening is kind of, like, the middle ground that makes sense. But I don't think we'd all be happy if we just sat... like every single day and did nothing. I think that's kind of like the enemy of happiness, you know?
Yeah, no, like we should like run or like walk or
do something,
like talk or anything, but just like lay there like a vegetable. Like we're not vegetables. We're like walking. We have limbs and brains and like voices that we can like share thoughts with. So I feel like we're like a lot more equipped for like, I don't know, like doing things like any other breed. So like we would just eventually like end up making houses again, or just like end up
something.
Like communities would build. Like the world wouldn't end like if like capitalism didn't exist. Like I feel like they want us to think that, obviously. Totally. But like I think maybe at first it'd be like an adjustment. I don't know if we could like take away capitalism now though. Like
it might be too late.
I think it's like too late. Like, I think it's like it's working for people, and people are relying on it, and people believe in it, and it's a lot more than just the system now. Like it's like the whole, it's everybody. It has followers, so it's like you know what I mean. You can just like take away. I feel like it'd be like a drug addict with like a withdrawal.
Yeah, everyone would like, die. It is so
like
weird.
So much shock. Like oh my god, what
do I do if I'm not making money?
Or something. I don't know. But
that's a really, really interesting idea, actually, because I feel like I only think about capitalism as like an economic system, and it's actually more than that. It really is. Honestly,
it's like a way of life.
It's like a way of life, yeah.
Literally exactly. A way of life for people.
But it's so weird because it's so weird to like understand and realize that if you want to, you can opt out. Like I have a friend.
You can literally go live in the woods if you want to.
Like
I think about that sometimes.
Yeah,
like, I'm not gonna lie, but I'm like, I don't think I could. I need a shower.
Yeah. I have a friend. Me and Mario were at her house, and we were talking, just hanging out, and she was telling me about this friend that she had. This blew my mind. So she was telling me that she has this friend, and I'm trying to like get this strand of middle hair out of my face. There we go.
You good?
Yeah. She has this friend that what she does, like I guess like does, because it's not like a job, but like she just is like she just is a train hopper. It's like what she does. She just
we were literally just talking about this on the way here.
Yeah.
Like train hopping across the country.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this girl, like, she has an Instagram, and she like,
would you ever do that? And I was like, no.
It's like, so she was explaining to me, it's like really, really dangerous because like there's a lot of like, but like
you
for
don't
reasons,
end up.
well, that, but also for like reasons you wouldn't think. Like,
Okay.
it's not even just dangerous from like the action of it, right?
Yeah.
It's really dangerous because there's like a very like political gang system that like runs like the train hopping like organizational. It's really weird. She explained the whole thing. It was very confusing. But
What?
like, yeah, there's almost like,
Did you know about that?
like train gangs. Like it's like very specific. Like if you
Wow.
hop certain train lines, people like run them, and like, yeah,
the fuck?
it's like really. But
Shit.
it's also like a huge way that people move drugs
That's
and stuff.
kind of terrifying.
But yeah, but I was thinking about it. Like, I mean,
But I would
going away.
never do that in the first place. So.
Yeah, but like going away from
Told
that,
you.
like, like void all that, whatever. That it blew my mind because it's just like, I was like, I almost have never considered that that's even a possibility. Like you or
Yeah, I
me or
didn't
any of
think
us
the
tomorrow.
train gangs were a thing.
Yeah, but like any of us tomorrow could just decide that we don't want to do any of this, and we could just go ride the back of trains. Isn't that weird?
Yeah, no, it's liberating though.
Yeah.
That's a liberating thought. Like we can always we have a choice at the end of the day. I like that.
Yeah.
But I choose this.
Yeah, I feel that too. It is scary. I don't know. Sometimes I wonder if I chose it or I just fell into it. Like, do you feel like you fell into music, or do you think you chose it?
Oh God. Maybe I fell into it because my mom was a singer, and then like her dad was a singer. And,
Yeah.
like, it was kind of like a generational thing. Maybe I just fell into it. I
Yeah.
don't know, but I feel like I feel like when you're little you have dreams, and like lots of people have like, I want to be president, or I want to be whatever, and like some people end up doing that and some people don't,
Yeah.
and like I was just one of the people who did
Yeah.
end up doing that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, I totally get you.
To put it into simple terms.
Yeah, that's it's interesting too, because I think like sometimes it goes deep. Like I think a lot of musicians, like, they don't make music for the music. I think a lot, and not to say that in a bad way, but like I think a big part of your music is like what you said, your storytelling, and like is like your lyrics and stuff. So I think like a lot of people are writers, or even like just storytellers, that like music becomes their medium,
Yeah, it's literally like spiritual.
Yeah.
Like it's like cathartic to write like a song that like expresses exactly how I'm feeling in like a cool ass way.
Yeah.
That like sounds awesome.
Yeah.
It's so cool, and then it's fulfilling once you hear it, and then to share it, and then like have people also love it. Like it's all just like dopamine.
Yeah.
Or is that serotonin? I don't know. Whichever
One of the two, yeah.
One of the two. But yeah, it's a good feeling.
I like how you kind of just phrase that, actually, like the process of like the making, and then the like listening, and then like the sharing.
Yeah, it's all fulfilling.
It's weird to think about it that way though, because like so much of it, people only think about the dopamine that comes from the sharing. And they don't think about the dopamine that comes from the creation. Like we're so hyper fixated on how these songs do, and we don't even realize that's maybe like 1/3 of the dopamine that we get from it.
And I have to like kind of handpick like the people that I work with, because like sometimes people like are too focused on the numbers, and I'm like, I don't want to make something that's like gonna make numbers. Like I just want to make something that's cool.
Yeah.
That like resonates with my soul, and like David is really like good for that, because like he's just like open-minded, like just like, okay, what do you want to do today?
That's
Let's
sick.
do it. And then like not really like focused on like how it's gonna do, and like that's when it's most fun. Like that's when it's so fun, when we're just like making whatever feels good.
And that's also the stuff that ends up resonating the best, because you made it from a place of fun.
Yeah, exactly.
I think the
it
best
like comes out the best. So
yeah,
whatever.
for sure.
I'm not gonna overthink it.
Yeah. I always have said, like, I think the best producers and the best engineers and the best, like, even managers are people who like are blank canvases. Like the artist goes to them, and they are willing to let whatever happens, but they're there to curate the environment in which it does.
Like just there to like make things better, like or like improve whatever part of like vibe you're on, and like without like, I don't know, like steering in like a completely opposite direction based off of like, I don't know, like ill intention, I guess. Yeah. Like it just, I think it matters on the intention, like what the intention is, like with the producer that I'm working with, like whether or not they want to make a hit, or whether or not they would just want to like dive into like whatever world that I'm in. And I much more prefer that one. It's like more welcoming of an environment to like just
when you're building those worlds and kind of like starting a song. I know you said, if I may guess, I would guess that you start acoustically, right? Just the way your songs are written, or Do you go to the studio with lyrics? Like, what is kind of your process like? How do you begin a song?
It definitely changed. Like, when I was first starting, like, I worked with producers, and they would just make instrumentals for me, and then I would write on top of that, and then I got a guitar, and then I started writing songs on my guitar. And then I would, like, Violet was literally a YouTube instrumental.
Whoa.
Yeah, like, I didn't even write. I don't own that beat. Like, it was written by or produced by like a random producer, and I found it on YouTube. And a lot of people have written songs to that track, but I guess none of them did as good as Violet.
That's so crazy.
Not a diss though.
How does that work? If you didn't, was it like a royalty free one? You could just use it?
No, so I had to pay like a fee. Like, it was like I forget the terms.
It was like a BeatStars thing or whatever, or a license.
License, right?
Gotcha.
Yeah, a license. I'm like so bad with business. I'm a musician, guys.
Yeah, I mean that's not your job. Yeah.
No. But yeah, I had to buy a license, and but yeah, I don't own it. I don't own the exclusive or anything like that.
Interesting. Wow, that's so interesting. Yeah, that's a world and a hustle that I feel like no one thinks about. But there's people who do that shit and just make so much money.
Literally.
Yeah.
No. Yeah. Exactly.
Production wise, like, where do you think? Because it's interesting. Like you've said this a couple times. It's interesting to me. Like, you phrase your stuff as like singer songwriter or like folk-ish or whatever.
Yeah.
That's like not what I get from it at all, which is interesting.
Really?
Yeah, because your music to me, like,
That's
I think
awesome.
I hear the layers a lot.
Yeah.
And it really feels like 90s, like dream pop, like Cockatoo Twins,
awesome.
like the Sundays to me.
Wow.
Even like
That's
like
really
some
cool.
of like some of lighter slow dive songs. Just the way that everything's like on like very condensed on top of each other.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's super like
And
I
that's
don't know,
really
just
cool.
like dreamy and trippy. Do you like?
This is cool because like I love how I see it is not how someone else is going
Yeah,
to see it. Like
yeah.
you see it in your own way, and that's amazing.
Isn't that weird how like we can hear the same song and think of it entirely different because of like the things we've listened to in the past?
I think it's amazing.
Yeah,
I think
it's
it's
really
so
cool.
beautiful because like we're just all individuals and we all have our own experiences.
Yeah.
And like however, and I do that intentionally when I write too because like I don't want to make it too. Like I want to make it specific, but not like too specific to where like I want to leave some room for interpretation. You know what I mean? And that's like so awesome. Like that you think that because I don't think that at all.
It's cool that you describe that in a sound way because I always think of that in like a lyric way, and the lyric way is obvious, right? It's like, you know, say things that like can be, there's different ways they can be described or they can mean different things, but a sound way is an interesting way to think about it.
Yeah,
because it is
everything,
true.
Like there's like a vibe like with the production, like, and whatever instruments you're using, like it matters. Like what down to like what type of bass or plug-in or whatever, like all of that shit like matters in making a vibe.
Do you think there's a world musically that you resonate with and take a lot of inspiration from production wise the most? Is it
like an artist?
Yeah, or an era or like a sound? Because I'm really interested because what I said was very much like I felt it's like in the dream pop realm area, but like, you know, there's some stuff that's more acoustic. I'd be curious what you think of it as.
I love like Biba Doobie. I like.
Interesting, because that's not what I get at all. That's so interesting.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my god, that's interesting. Because that's who I like compare myself to when I'm like posting. Like I'm like POV, you love Biba Doobie, or like Claro. Like I see like some Claro
I could
vibes.
see that. Yeah.
But like I really love like my inspirations are like nothing like the music that I make. Like I love like Lucy Dacus.
Wow. Okay.
And like Ethel Cain.
So like folk.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
And then like I also love like I love pop shit. Like I love Chapel and I love like Lola Young. Do you know who Lola Young is?
No.
She's like newer, but she's like alternative pop.
Okay.
And then like I love like R&B shit, like Frank Ocean, Tyler. Well, he's more hip hop, or like rap. I don't know. He's kind of like cultivated his sound to be like.
Tyler's so hard to define. Like
I don't know if I could really define him
like
as just
Igor
hip-hop. Like
Igor is literally like a neo soul album.
He's a lot more. He's cultivated himself to much more than just hip hop. I shouldn't just like minimize him to that. I apologize.
But I mean that's fair because that's where he started.
But anyways, yeah, I'm inspired by a lot of different artists. Like I just kind of like pick and choose. Like I don't know. Like it depends on what world I'm also trying to go for. Like what I'm trying to create. Like whatever project that I'm in. And this was like a very dreamy project, and like there was like a whole aesthetic to it that I wanted to stick to, and like you know what I mean.
Are you working up towards like an EP or a project?
Yes.
Okay. Cool.
It's like done.
Oh, sick.
I'm very excited.
Are you, what stage of like getting that out are you in? Is it in the mastering? Is it done?
It's like done.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So.
Do you know when you're going to put it out?
Next month. Oh my god, this is the first time I'm talking about it.
Crazy.
In front of people, but yeah.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah, I haven't even announced it or anything, but like
Sick.
I have it planned.
Okay, sweet. Hell yeah, that's so cool. Was there a sound or like a storyline or like a cohesive energy in that one you were going for? Like what was kind of the like the starting place, and did it end in the same place you thought it would begin in?
Yeah, it definitely did, which I was really happy about.
Cool.
I wanted it to be like the vibe was like me going through like a transition, and like I made that like, or I kind of like symbolized, I don't know words, with that, with like flowers. So each track is like a different flower, which I think is like beautiful, because
that's
like
so
flowers
cool.
grow and then they like die and they become like, you know, new again, and they just sprout up. But yeah, that's kind of how I felt, and I was like reflecting that in that like aesthetic concept, and yeah, just like overall, like I would say, like as far as, I don't know, like subject matter and just like overall vibe of like it feels like moving on, yeah, and like growing.
That's so cool.
So yeah, that was like very focused on that vibe, and like I wrote a lot of songs, and it came down to only 5. So yeah, it was a process.
I always love like when artists take a project as an opportunity to like just like kind of explain and display a moment of their life.
Yeah,
like that's always so cool.
I feel like that's all I do.
Yeah, that's so sick.
Otherwise I wouldn't make music.
Yeah,
I feel like it's like how I process things.
Yeah.
And it's funny because like I had like people who would get like mad at me for writing songs about them, and I'm like, you know,
about
like,
them?
Yeah, just like me being inspired by like a situation or like whatever, and I'd like post them and stuff, and they'd be like mad, and I'm like, you know, it's gonna be like,
it's just my life,
my career.
It's like an extension of me.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Like if you don't want me to say bad things, like don't
be that person. Yeah. the album, this example that I always think about when it comes to this is How I'm Feeling Now by Charlie XCX. Like that album is
I don't think I've ever listened.
Really sick. Yeah.
I need to go down Charlie. I haven't even listened to Brat yet.
Yeah. I'm so happy Charlie is like having a moment, but like her old shit is so just so. How I'm Feeling Now, that's probably my I think that the new one I might like more, but yeah, but
I've heard nothing but good things.
Yeah, but
like,
anyway, yeah, but
popping off.
Yeah, but that album is like it's just that. It's like a snapshot of like where she is at that moment.
Yeah, and that's awesome.
Yeah, which is super sick.
I feel like that's like, if you really love music, like that's just like what you do.
Yeah,
like, you just like incorporate, you get inspired by what you're around and what you experience, and then you put those experiences and like make it like a tangible thing that like can be shared with others.
Yeah,
you know,
it's always so weird to me when artists like aren't it's so strange that like to make art you have to live life, and to like live life you have to stop making art in a way, because it's a
balance.
Yeah,
it's literally like a balance.
It really is. Like
I mean, I don't know, is it a balance? Because you kind of have to like be in and out.
But there's some jobs where like if you're a accountant at a law firm, you can do that every single day, and you never have to like go like recharge the experience bubble to do it. Like to be a musician, like you literally have to like there's a balance between like living and then like writing, because if you don't live, you don't write. Right. And you know, like if you don't have those experiences, you have to go actively seek them out at a certain point.
That is literally a fact. I'm like non-inspired when I'm not doing anything.
Yeah,
but when I am doing things, I'm like, oh my god, I can write about this, and I I just do it. I like pull out my phone, and I'm just like, words come out. But it's kind of like, I have to like accept the fact that like there are moments where like I have like dry spells too. So like I have to like I take those as like cue calls. I don't know. Oh my god, I'm so bad at words. Like cues to like live my life if I'm not inspired. And I just like,
that's a really good way to look at it.
Let myself like not be inspired and like go, or like not work and like go be inspired. You know?
Yeah.
And like not really. It's just perspective.
There's a this book I love called The War of Art by Stephen Pressfield, and he talks about this idea pretty much of, he calls it the resistance in this book, but it's like this idea of like there's this like blockade of like whatever you want to call it, like just like a wall. It's called a wall, but like you have to break through that wall to get to the and the wall is all like things that are really uninspiring, right? So like sitting in your room and trying to write something and nothing's coming out, or like playing an instrument and trying to play something, you can't find a riff that you like, or like you know, maybe you're a painter and you're painting and nothing's coming out right, but you have to have those days to have the days that are the opposite of that.
Exactly.
Like you need to have the bad. So like I think it is really a good idea that like when you get to that place, go live, like go figure out what it is that you're missing.
Yeah. And I think it's also like you have to pay attention to how you feel, because if you feel like you're on the brink of something, then like definitely stick with that intuition and do whatever is like coming out, because like you have to write out the bad stuff to get to the good stuff.
Yeah.
And like maybe the good stuff is like already there, and you like, I don't know, it just takes like listening to yourself. Like, am I on a roll right now? Am I not? Do I feel burnt out? Let me go do something else.
That's a really interesting idea, is like when you feel like you're on the brink of something, keep going.
Yeah, because it's like sometimes you do have to push through, but like only if you have the energy and the inspiration to.
Yeah.
But if you don't have the energy or the inspiration, like don't do it. Like that doesn't seem good. Like it's good. For you. But it's just like being present in that moment, which is again hard. But like you just have to pay attention to how you feel. Like if I feel tired and like I'm like nothing is coming out for like an hour, I'm like, okay, I just need to
start today.
Call it a day, and like just go live.
Being a musician's so weird. That's like literally the only career where it's like that.
Yeah.
Like I don't know.
It's really fun though.
Yeah.
I love it. I really love it. Like, it's fun.
I think you got to be kind of like a sporadic person to a certain degree if you want to be just a full-time musician. It's hard, I feel like.
It's super hard. You have to love it a lot. You have to really, really love what you do, I think, to stick with it, which is why I do. Because I've never loved anything more than music. I've always known that I wanted to do music since I was a kid. Yeah. And it never went away.
That's so awesome.
Yeah.
I think there's so many people who like know that but just silence it, which is really scary.
If you do that, please don't.
Yeah.
Like,
you can do it.
If you have a passion, film, art, bugs, whatever, pursue it.
Yeah.
Like do what you love.
Yeah. No.
You'll be happy.
100%. So when you have experiences like that, like real life experiences or like, you know, whatever it is, do you like run to kind of go write those down and then begin writing a song about them? Or is there like a period where like you'll stew on them and let them sit? Do you ever like do something and you're like, wow, like that's a song?
It's like never the same, but
gotcha.
Yes, it's never the same. But yeah, when I was writing Violet, like I just sang out that first, excuse me, like that just like melody, and like I was like, oh, that's really good. And then I could hear already like the whole concept, but like it's never the same. Like there are some times where like I get stuck. I'll write like a really good, I don't know, verse, but like I can't find like a good hook to like tie it all together.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like it's never the same.
Yeah.
But there are moments where I'm like, that's a really good song. Like let me finish this, and like I won't give up on it until I do.
Those are like the flow state moments, I think.
Yeah, and I love those moments.
Yeah.
It's very exciting for me. Like I'm building something.
Those days,
really good.
Yeah, those days creatively, and like I think regardless of whatever you're doing, are literally the most exciting thing in the world. I think like when you get in a place, like I feel that way when I'm like, if I'm editing or something, or just like you know, like writing or whatever, like there'll be days where like kind of like what you said, like there's days where literally you don't know who you are and nothing feels right, but then there's days where
that's okay.
Everything makes sense, and it's
right.
It's like
and both of those things are okay.
Yeah, 100%.
And one thing is like really okay, but like the other thing is like just as okay. Like you can go, it's an opportunity, you know, to go do something else, but like when you get there, it's like yes.
Yeah. This is a really like strange example, but I'm like a really big baseball fan.
Okay. And I don't know anything about baseball.
Oh no, you're good. Yeah,
okay.
But there was
as long as that's
there's this like analyst that I like, and he did an interview with, I think it was CJ Wilson, who was like a pitcher for the Rangers and a bunch of other teams, but he was talking about how one really, really key thing of baseball and just sports and just life, and I think it applies to music as well, that's really, really important, is to like never get too high with the highs and never get too low with the lows, and always remain at this fixed point in the middle. And I think that is so key. Like I think you need to get to a place where like if you have a bad day at the office, you had a bad day at the office, and that's just life. And you have to understand that like tomorrow may be better, it may be worse, but it may be better, you know. And it's like finding that fixed state of like I'm okay is everything, I think.
And then like even just like knowing like even in like those bad moments, like if you don't feel okay, like that is okay, like that's normal. Like we're not supposed to feel okay like all of the time. Like that'd be really weird. We're supposed to have like ups and downs, and like I feel like that's like just healthy, and especially like embracing those moments. Like there can be a lot of epiphanies that come from those moments.
Yeah.
Like maybe I need to stop doing this so that I stop feeling this way or whatever, and then you can then like enhance your life.
Yeah.
But like all of these things are necessary and like important to feel. Like the success and the lows, or like I guess I shouldn't say success, like the highs and the lows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so key too.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, like just knowing they're okay, like that's huge. When you talking more about like specifically like the newer song, it makes a lot of sense that you've had experiences, then you kind of run to write them down, because that song feels very much about like a pointed experience. You don't have to go into like what it is exactly or too deeply, but like a lot of lyrics in that song to me that feel very like they're describing a situation that could be like attributed to somebody's own life as well. Like I don't think that it's interesting, because like it's very obvious you're telling a story, but it's like the story I think could be a story to somebody else. But some of the lines that feel more general, like the garden line was really interesting to me. Things like that. Like do you try to put yourself in places where those lyrics can kind of be left up to interpretation, or do you more try to tell a personal story?
No, yeah, I like using like phrases of words just to create like just like images in my head. Like this is where I was, or even just like a metaphor kind of like, that's because like the garden thing like went along with like the aesthetic of like flowers.
Cool.
Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like it was just kind of like also in that like direction of like wanting everything to stay in like the same world. And then like using like, I love using metaphors and like using like just like I'm not even gonna try and think of the word, but just like ways to like different ways to like say what I'm thinking instead of saying like exactly what that is.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, 100%.
Okay, yeah.
I think that's so key too, because I think that is like it's interesting. I think like you never know if you want to like pander to not pander, but like point to a very specific audience, and like this is a community of people, this is a certain group of people that can like relate to this experience that I'm talking about, or do you want to like go your route a bit more and talk about that in like a generalized term, where it's like maybe this is a story about me doing thing A, but somebody else it could be a story about them doing thing B, and they might relate to it, you know?
Yeah, that's why I'm saying like I like leaving like a little bit of room for interpretation.
Yeah,
like I want it to be specific so there can be like a feeling that's addressed, but like as far as situation, like leave it up to interpretation. Like maybe I'll add in like little like things that are like I don't know, like I see that are like common or like but like common but like specific. I don't know, but like it's all just creating a vibe.
I
like,
really love that flower metaphor. That's really sick.
Thank you.
There's a they didn't do the exact same thing, so don't think I'm yucking your yum here, but the there's this band that I'm good friends with. They're from San Francisco. They're called Carport Tunnel, and their debut album is called Bloom, and that's it's all curled up, but those are the liner notes for the album right there.
That one, the long one?
Yeah, I wish I could show you, but it's all like curled up by accident.
I can see some of it, but it's too small for it to be legible for me to read.
Anyway though, yeah, so it's like the album's called Bloom, and the last lyric on the album, I think it's the last lyric, or maybe it's the first lyric, or maybe it's just on the title, I don't remember exactly, but Ben, the lead singer, he says, like a flower you too shall bloom. Yeah. And that's like what came to my mind when you were talking about that, because that is really true. It's like, I don't know, it's a really cool metaphor.
We're just like them.
Yeah.
We're literally just like them.
Yeah, exactly.
Live way longer.
Yeah.
We can do way more.
Yeah, exactly.
But like we grow and like we start off like in little buds, and then we like come out of them, and then we live, and then we die.
It's such a comforting way to think about your life.
And even, sorry to cut you off.
No, you're good.
But like even like parts, like versions of us die. Like literally, like kind of like in the way where I was like, I'm not the same as how I was like even like 10 years ago. Like that part of me died, but like I still like hold that like memory of her here.
Yeah.
But like I'm no longer that person. And like in that way, like that version was, or like that's kind of like a flower.
Yeah.
Like my flower like blossomed, then it died, but it's like I don't know, like it's still there, kind of lingering.
Do you think those things happen naturally, or do you think you have to, like, I don't want to put the work in, because it might not even be a bad thing, but like you have to pursue that change consciously? I think I used to think the latter, but as I've gotten older, I think I might believe the former. Like I think I do kind of think that like
you have to chase it.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, I think you might be right, because things can happen to you, but it does depend on how you look at it, and if you're willing to make the changes that like whatever like the situation is calling for. And it takes like awareness in that, and some people like will do the same thing over and over and over again and never change.
Yeah, you
know, so like you have to be aware. That's definitely true,
which is a really scary thought.
Yeah, like we're completely responsible for our fates.
Yeah. Or even like we're
Yeah.
completely responsible for like our progression. Like
Yes.
like like the idea that like if we don't seek
Autonomy.
change, we'll never find it. But I also think
Yeah.
I also-
I don't know if it's that black and white though. Like maybe.
yeah.
But like I think there definitely is like an element where like you have to be willing to change. Like you're not just gonna like, because there are people who I know like from experience who like have not changed
Yeah.
since like high school, and I'm like, okay, you don't change.
Maybe you don't want
and like
to.
maybe you don't want to. Maybe
Yeah.
that's not right for you. But like I think so like if people don't want to change or I don't know. It's not. I don't know.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think it's
It's a
that black
hard
and
question.
white. No, I get it.
But yeah.
It is really. It's really strange to think about. I think. I will say though, I think one thing you have to do to even find that is to like make tangible choices that you know will lead to something, but you don't know what to lead to.
Yeah, I think
Like
it's just whatever feels right. Like,
Yeah.
you have to be present. Like I feel like everything just comes down to being present and
Yeah.
how you feel and what feels right for you. And if it doesn't feel right for you, then don't do it.
This sounds so stupid, but I saw this TikTok the other day where this guy was talking about like people will say things like, "Oh, like why is everything crumbling? Like why is my life falling apart?" And it's like you kind of and what he was saying, this is the dumb TikTok I watched, but he was saying
It's
like
not dumb.
but he was saying you have to like kill a certain part of you to leave room for the part that takes its place.
Literally, no,
which
yeah.
I think is so true. I thought about it a lot.
Mhm.
It's like
You have to literally make space in your like,
Yeah.
consciousness, because like we can only take so much. So you have to like make room, like whatever isn't resonating with you. That's why it takes like awareness and like being present to like figure out what that is and like what is making me feel or like contributing to like these like negative, I don't know, like
Yeah.
thought patterns or habits or people that I attract to my life. Like it all comes down to like who you are and being aware of like what parts of yourself are contributing to like this, and then whatever doesn't resonate with you or makes you feel gross, like bye.
shedding it. Yeah.
Bye.
And every time you do it, you get a little bit closer to like refining who you are. It's like every day you're getting closer and closer to what is the version of you that you have to be at.
Yeah,
But you know,
then
you don't
again,
know.
there's no finish line.
That too, yeah.
It's like it's always going to be like that.
Which, like you said, can be exciting or it can be scary or it can be exciting.
Yeah.
But I think it's also like a choice to take it as excitement. I think it's like a choice to like be excited every single day to figure out what's on the other
Yeah.
side of the tunnel, to figure
it's so
out
much
what's on the
more
horizon.
fun.
Yeah.
It makes life so much more fun.
It's like every day's an adventure.
But I will say, like, as someone who struggles with depression and anxiety, I understand that that's hard. And
Totally.
for some people, like, but, you know, if you have the ability, go to therapy, take your meds.
Do all of it.
Do what you can to be
Yeah.
happy. But yeah, I do understand that. I don't want to, like,
Oh,
I know I'm
100%.
speaking from, like, a place of, like, privilege, but, like, yeah.
Yeah. No, I
Try to be happy
yeah.
and do what you love.
I totally feel that. Yeah, I think one thing, and like I've never experienced depression like that, but I think one thing that just helps make every day kind of exciting is at least trying to like put it in that context of like fighting the day in a way, like waking up and like I'm gonna murder today.
Which, like, to some people, it can sound like climbing Mount Everest.
Totally,
And, like,
totally,
I
yeah.
get that. Like, getting out of bed sometimes, like,
totally.
feels like climbing a mountain.
Yeah.
So, like, I get that. And that's okay. Stay in bed.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
watch your TV. Read
That
a
too.
book. Like,
Yeah.
whatever. It's okay.
Yeah, 100%. Okay, last thing I wanted to ask you. If you had like one message that you could spread through your music, like everybody who listens to it, if they could feel and think and process one thing, what would that one thing be?
It's okay not to be okay. Like, if you're not okay, that's fine. Like, you can be sad and, like, still have power in yourself. And also, like, we are enough. Like, as we are. And, like, know that. And love yourself.
Beautiful. Hell yeah. Marianne Ross. Thank you very much, my friend.
Thank
that
you
was
for
a lot of
having
fun.
me.
Yeah, that was a great conversation.
Yeah, you're a good conversation.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you for sitting through the heat and
Dude, I'm actually
persevering.
fine right now.
Now it's fine, yeah.
Little facts, we had our ice packs.
Yeah. I got my ice packs.
This was key.
This was key.
Yeah.
Save the day. Tell them where they could listen, where they could follow, they could find you. You're playing. I don't think this will be out before Monday, but
Oh, yeah.
you will have played Monday at the Echo.
Yes, I will have played at the
I think I'm gonna try to
Echo.
come, by the way.
Oh my god, yes,
Yeah.
you totally should. That'd be
yeah.
amazing. And then Spotify, Apple Music, Instagram, Marianne Ross.
LinkedIn. Hell yeah. All right.
My
Thank you so much,
LinkedIn
dude.
link. Yeah.
Appreciate you.
Thank you.
All right. Music matters.